Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact us on the Facebook group, on Twitter, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well guys, 1 week till Star Wars. That's right. Next Thursday, I will be sitting in theaters with Lisa watching Star Wars The Last Jedi. And then the next day, on Friday, I got a big group of us going to go see it. So I am psyched. Now to get ready for it, I've been going through the saga. I'm up to Empire Strikes Back. So Lisa and I are going to finish the last 3 films within the next week and get ready for The Last Jedi coming up next Thursday. Also on the Facebook group, I am doing a poll every day. Today's poll, best Star Wars droid. Hop onto the Facebook group and share your opinion on that. Each day I'm going to be putting up a new subject. Well, it is another gloomy and rainy day here in Austin, Texas, but it's all smiles here. I was just about to sit down to do today's show, hop online, and what do I find? A bunch of X-Men goodies. That's right, Entertainment Weekly has released the cover and several photos for their upcoming issue that features X-Men Dark Phoenix. On the cover, we see Sophie Turner, aka Jean Grey. Looks like she is burning bright. Inside, there are several photos from the film, as well as interviews by the film's director, Simon Kinberg, and several cast members. Now, from what we've learned in this article, we see that the movie takes place in 1992 and follows 10 years after the events of X-Men Apocalypse. Charles Xavier and the X-Men have really become national heroes all the times they've saved the world. Xavier himself has even landed on the cover of Time magazine, and it kind of has a little bit of an inflated ego as he starts to send the team on more dangerous missions. Director Kinberg said, quote, "Pride is starting to get the better of him, and he's pushing the X-Men to more extreme measures." Now, Xavier himself, James McAvoy, says this is probably the most emotional X-Men we've done and the most pathos-driven. There's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of suffering. In the story, the X-Men are sent into space on a rescue mission, and a solar flare strikes the X-Jet. The energy ignites a power-hungry new force within Jean, and of course, fans will recognize that as the Phoenix Force. Now, this is all based off the very famous Marvel Comics storyline, the Dark Phoenix Saga, probably the most famous X-Men storyline. This will be Fox's second attempt to bring the Dark Phoenix Saga to the big screen. The first one was the widely criticized 2006 film X-Men The Last Stand, which was completely horrible. This one looks like the Phoenix Saga is up front and center. Obviously, it's called The Dark Phoenix. Speaking with Jennifer Lawrence, aka Mystique, she said, quote, "I would call Dark Phoenix a drama. We really have great action scenes, and we go to space like in the first 5 minutes of the movie. So it's definitely exciting, but emotionally, all these characters are taking the biggest, most extreme dives that they can have in the whole series." The film is set to come out November 2nd, 2018, starring James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Sophie Turner, Ty Sheridan, Nicholas Hoult, Alexander Shipp, Cody Smith-McPhee, Evan Peters, Olivia Munn, and Jessica Chastain. Holy crap, guys. Okay, I'm with all of you. I had my reservations, and I'm still very nervous about this film. Anyone who knows me knows I am a huge X-Men fan. Obviously, anyone who knows the fact that this show is referenced to an X-Men knows just how deep my geekdom for X-Men goes. Like, X-Men and Star Wars are probably my top tier of what I geek out about, with Superman's in that third category, right behind the two of them. The X-Men movies have been hit and miss, about half and half for me. I know a lot of people didn't like X-Men Apocalypse. I enjoyed it as an X-Men film because I got to see a lot of X-Men stuff. You had Jean phoenixing out there at the end. You had a psychic battle with Apocalypse and Xavier, which was cool. And you had Magneto twisting the magnetic poles of the Earth, which all are things we've seen in comics before. So as a longtime X-Men reader, that got me excited. When it comes to X-Men Dark Phoenix, I'm a little nervous, as a lot of people are, mainly because of Simon Kinberg. He's a fresh director, never directed a film before, and now he's going to take on this major motion picture. Kim Berg, however, has been with X-Men for a very long time as a producer and writer with the franchise. Now that kind of should be a little bit of reassurance, plus the fact that he got Bryan Singer's blessing to this film too. But nevertheless, I've been nervous, I still am nervous, as well as other fans of the X-Men films and X-Men comics are. These pictures, however, are awesome. I gotta say, they look super cool. I just want to talk about a couple of them here. So yeah, you get this one shot here, which is similar to the cover, which is Jean kind of flaming out. Super cool. Looks really cool. Sophie Turner, I think she's a strong enough actor to pull off Jean. Now, we all know her from Game of Thrones. And throughout the course of that series, we've seen her character, Sansa, grow and mature. And as I've seen her in that show, it got to the point where, yeah, I feel like she could pull off a Dark Phoenix. I'm all about it. So I think she'll do a fine job. I think she's a fine actress. Sure, I don't think she's phenomenal, but I think she can play the part just pretty well. The next shot, now, as I said, within the first 5 minutes, they're going to space, and this gets me so excited, okay? Talking with Lisa many months ago on this show about Dark Phoenix and what they should do with it. I've always said Dark Phoenix, and in telling the story of the Dark Phoenix the way it's meant to be told, is Fox's and the X-Men universe's way to open up the floodgates to a bigger cosmic universe, much like how Guardians of the Galaxy opened up the MCU to all the cosmic possibilities. Dark Phoenix is a way to do that, because you bring in the Shi'ar and the Starjammers, which are the X-Men version of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you can bust this whole universe wide open with limitless possibilities. This picture lets me know, hey, they're going into space, and Jean's going to inherit the Phoenix, which is what happens in the comic books. So this picture, and this picture alone, gives me more hope than anything. Continuing, we see a funeral. Now, we've heard in recent weeks that there is going to be a major character death. Most people, from what I'm guessing from this picture, it could be Jean's funeral, you know? That Jean could have died either at the end of the film or at the beginning. I don't know, but we got a little funeral going on there. This picture with Sophie Turner, she looks like in peril. To me, just looking at this picture by itself, I think it's one of those things where they think Jean has died, the X-Men have, but she's come back to Earth, but she's kind of dealing with her inner demons and by herself, and she's sitting there pondering and trying to fight the thing that is inside of her, trying to control her. Now, here's another picture of Jessica Chastain. Now, we first heard about her being cast in this film. People immediately thought Lilandra, who is the Empress of the Shi'ar, who is fighting Jean and the X-Men to try to control or stop the Phoenix. Now, we come to find out from this interview in Entertainment Weekly that Chastain is actually a, quote, otherworldly shapeshifter who manipulates Phoenix for her own agenda. She's quiet but brutal. Now, when they say otherworldly, that means, I think, alien is what I'm guessing. In the world of the Shi'ar superheroes, you have the Imperial Guard, led by Gladiator, who's like a Superman-type character, which I really hope we get to see at some point. But they do have a couple shapeshifters, too. So whether she's part of that group, I don't know. In the comics, you do have the Hellfire Club that manipulates Jean into basically turning her into the Dark Phoenix. But from this picture, this very much looks like an Emma Frost. I mean, the way she looks, I'm like, man, that if only we didn't already see Emma Frost in the X-Men continuity, played by January Jones in First Class. This would have been a great way to introduce Emma Frost, and Jessica Chastain would have been a great actress to play the character. Unfortunately, like several other characters, like Banshee, they messed that up way down the road. Whatever she's doing, Chastain is a great actress, and I'm sure she's going to do a great job. And then, of course, you got Jennifer Lawrence back as Mystique. Some people said she shouldn't have come back. I wouldn't have minded if she and Michael Fassbender would not have come back. At the end of X-Men Apocalypse, you saw her training the X-Men. I get that. But her and Magneto, I think, aren't important in the storyline. I think you have to have Xavier in there Beast, he's really part of the X-Men in the original storyline as well. So I think you can throw him in there too. But Jennifer Lawrence, I get it. She's a star. You got to put her in there. But in my opinion, you really don't need her. Nevertheless, these pictures just popped up. And I am super excited to get my issue of Entertainment Weekly with Dark Phoenix on the cover. Again, we've all been worried about this film. I've been worried about this film, I guess you could say. With Kimberg as a fresh director, how X-Men Apocalypse wasn't as loved. These pictures look awesome, though. I know it says nothing about what the film will actually be, but like I said, that one space picture alone gives me hope that maybe they understand the story and what it's supposed to be enough to where they're going to do it right. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see, of course. I hope we get a trailer soon. Now, we have a couple other X-Men films coming out in 2018. We have New Mutants in April, and Deadpool 2, I believe, comes out in June. I hope we get maybe a teaser trailer in April. With these pictures, I want a teaser trailer right now, but I'm not trying to be greedy or anything. In any event, we got to wait till November, but I will be there opening night, looking forward to it, and I'm now super stoked for this film more than I was. Hit me back on the Facebook group and dayspringdiscussion@gmail.com. Let me know, does this give you more hope for the film, or are you still worried about it? Let me know your comments. Alright guys, the last story for today before I talk about a couple of comics. Last night I sat down and watched the first episode of the sci-fi series Happy, starring Christopher Milani. Now Milani, most known for his long run on Law & Order. He's also done a guest starring role in Man of Steel, the Warner Brothers picture. Now he's the star in this TV series, which is based on a comic book by Grant Morrison. Now in it, Milani plays Nick, who is a former cop turned hitman who's kind of an all big mess. Drugs, drinking, all that stuff. He's kind of a real bad guy. And while trying to get out of some trouble, he runs into this imaginary horse unicorn type thing called Happy. And Happy needs Nick's help because Happy is the imaginary friend of a girl named Haley who has been captured by this bad guy being held in a box. And Happy is trying to get Nick to help him to free Haley. So that looks like what this first season is going to be about. To be honest, the first 10 minutes of this series, I was like, I don't know about this. It was a little weird. It's a little freaky, a little far out there. But I decided to power through because I wanted to talk about it on today's show. And honestly, I'm glad I did. Because by the end of the series, as you know, any good pilot has a little twist at the end or hook to try to get you to watch the next episode. And as I went through the rest of the episode, it got better. And yeah, it did the hook work for me. So I'm going to watch the next episode. If you guys want to check it out, it's on SyFy. It's a little weird, a little far out there, but I think that might be some of your alleys. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay, guys, so now it's my turn to give you a couple recommendations that I have for comics that I read this week. You go and check them out. Let me know what you think as well. So first off, let's start with some holiday comics. DC came out with their 2017 holiday special. Gives you a bunch of short stories written by a bunch of DC writers such as Tom King, Denny O'Neil. And in it, it's really about Clark, or Superman, sitting in Bibbo's bar. And I guess every year he goes and he orders a club soda and kind of sits there and kind of ponders the year about Superman, what he's done, what he can be doing, should he be doing more. And he has this little conversation with Bibbo about stories that Bibbo's heard of other heroes doing good things. So we get a Flash story, we get a Batman story. We're even going to get a couple lesser known characters like Swamp Thing and the Atomic Knights in here. But overall, kind of a nice holiday special. There's a couple ones that I really like. The Flash was kind of nice. Batman's was okay. There's a little story between Wonder Woman and Batman 2 in there. But overall, it was fabulous. But if you want some nice holiday stories starring your favorite superheroes, I'd recommend going and checking it out just for fun. Then, by Grant Morrison, you have Claus. Now, I think it was last year he came out with a storyline starring Claus, and maybe he's going to do this every year. But Claus is this kind of Viking warrior who is based off Santa Claus, but he goes around and fights supernatural powers and demons and aliens and stuff like that. This year we got Claus and the Crisis in Xmasville. It sounds super silly, and really it kind of is, but it's also a lot of fun to read. You got Santa Claus as this warrior with this huge sword, kicking ass against aliens and demons. It's very goofy, and it's a lot of fun. So you can go check that out and see what you think about that issue. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 77. Guys, you know me. I grew up on Ninja Turtles. It's one of my favorite cartoons next to Thundercats growing up. And honestly, I love the series of Ninja Turtles. This new one they got going on by Kevin Eastman. It's on issue 77. I've enjoyed all of it. In this one, you got the Triceratons coming back to Earth, and they're fighting the humans, and the Ninja Turtles are kind of in the middle. And one thing that kind of throws a wrench in it all is Master Splinter. For those of you who don't read the series, Master Splinter is kind of on the outs with the Ninja Turtles. He's trying to run the Foot Clan and do something good with it. The Turtles think it's a bad idea. They're kind of split. So I think there might be a showdown coming up between the Turtles and Master Splinter with the Foot Clan. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, if you're not reading Ninja Turtles and you grew up on the series like I did, I recommend you checking it out. It's got that perfect blend of hardcore storytelling and a couple of jokes thrown in there to really what makes this series work. Another good one I recommend checking out is The Jetsons. Issue 2 came out. This is part of a 6-issue miniseries that DC Comics is doing with Hanna-Barbera. The other series they've been doing, like the Quest series with Space Ghost and the Flintstones, not really a big fan of, but the Jetsons work for me. I wasn't a huge Jetsons fan as a kid, but I did like the movie that came out with, I think it was like early 90s, late 80s. I've ever seen it in theaters too, but this gives a more realistic take on the family of the Jetsons. It's super cool. They're talking about world-ending asteroid coming, and the Jetsons are trying to be the ones trying to fix it. And now in this issue, it looks like there might be some kind of sea creature that has been unleashed from below. And it's all just a lot of fun. Very good take on the characters. Very serious take on the characters. Giving I know who the Jetsons are and what their cartoon versions are like. I like this take on them, and I'm excited to see how the rest of this series goes down. And probably my final recommendation for this week is going to be Batman issue number 36, written by Tom King himself. He is crushing it on this series. This one's a little interesting. It's the first part of kind of a 2 or 3-parter, and it involves Superman. And basically it's a dual storyline with Superman and Lois on one side and Batman and Catwoman on the other side. And the two couples are talking about Batman and Catwoman's recent engagement. Superman doesn't want to contact Bruce to say congratulations. Bruce doesn't want to contact Superman to let him know what's going on. Catwoman's talking to Batman. Lois is talking to Superman. And they end up that they're working the same case, fighting the same supervillains. At the end of the issue, they meet up outside an elevator, and then we get teased that there's a double date coming up in the next issue with Lois Lane and Superman and Batman and Catwoman. I'm excited for that one just to see how that goes. King, I'm sure, is going to do a hell of a job in that next issue. I want to see a lot of good dialogue between the two couples. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but this is a nice precursor to what I hope will be a good issue number 37. So check that out, guys. And an honorable mention that I want to do just real quick, Darth Vader, issue number 9. For those of you who aren't following this storyline, I highly recommend it. This Darth Vader by Charles Soule is really good, better than the last Darth Vader series. Takes place right after Revenge of the Sith. And in this one, the old Jedi librarian, that old lady that we saw in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, comes back to try to stop Vader and the Inquisitors from getting all the Jedi knowledge and finding where the Force-sensitive children are. In this issue, looks like she shuts down the archives, which is kind of interesting. Lets you kind of know why Luke, after Return of the Jedi, might be on this decades-long journey to find more about the Jedi, because it looks like in this issue, what Palpatine and Vader haven't destroyed, maybe the other Jedi have destroyed to stop it from getting into Palpatine's hands. It's an interesting thought. That's kind of why I found this issue interesting. But check out Darth Vader #9. This series is really good. Give it a chance. And that's going to be it for me, guys. So, time for you to fire back on social media and the Gmail accounts. Let me know, what do you think about these pictures of Dark Phoenix? They get me a little excited, but then again, I'm an X-Men fan, so anything X-Men gets me excited. But let me know, do you think I've got false hopes, or do you think it's right on par? Let me know. Also, have you seen Happy yet? Let me know about that. And then, of course, what are your comic recommendations? Have you read any of the stuff that I have read? Do you have more that you want to add to? Let me know. Dayspring discussions, Facebook group, Twitter, Gmail account, and of course you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring 12 on Twitter and Instagram. And that's going to be it for me, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe more about Dark Phoenix if more gets released. The Jurassic World 2 trailer is coming out tonight with Thursday Night Football, and I'll be sure to talk about that tomorrow too. So until next time, may the Force be with us all.